part 2 of answering my most asked questions about homeschooling high school. Jan Burt here, homeschooled 25 years, all the way through high school graduation, all 5 of my kids. And thank you to Erica Johns and the TikTok Homeschool Conference for putting together this all about high school event for July. So next question that I get asked a lot, it would be, how do you get it all done? How do you teach them everything? Well, I just had to manage my time. Was it a little bit of work on the front end of each week to figure out where my time was going to go? Absolutely. One of the best things I ever did was to make a way to plan out, like, this time block is for this kid with this particular subject. There's a lot they can do on their own. Let's be honest. High schoolers, they do their homework on their own. You're not really looking over their shoulder if they go to public school. When they go to college, if they choose to do that, or if they go into the working world, they kind of have to do their work without somebody looking over their shoulder. So it doesn't take as much time, like going through every page of every book, as it takes time to make sure that they're doing what they need to do. You're not teaching them just how to complete their language arts assignment. You're teaching them how to manage their time and how to be ready to be functional, well-rounded, good for society, good for the world people. And so look at it that way. It's more than just keeping them on track with like their schoolwork. So what if your teen hates to read? What do you do? Well, that's a tough one. If it's dyslexia, that's a whole nother thing. And I would say look into whatever resources you can find in the online space or here on TikTok to help with teens with dyslexia. If it's just a bad attitude, you're in a little bit of a pickle then, because so much of schoolwork is based on books. And also you don't want them to be like a hard-hearted grown-up who just isn't going to do what they don't want to do, because we all have things we have to do that we don't want to do. It's a part of life. It's the least fun part of life, right? So I would encourage you to just keep working at ways to maybe make an impression on them, to kind of push on them with consequences or whatever ways to get them to do what they don't like to do at least some of the time. I didn't really have that problem per se, but I did have other problems with teens. So sometimes it's just an attitude adjustment. It can start with a parental attitude adjustment and putting yourself back in the place of, no, I'm the parent. I'm the parent. And if you're living in my home and you're eating our food and you're using our Wi-Fi and you're using a cell phone that we provided for you, there's a lot that can shift and change in terms of discipline if you will not do your schoolwork. If it's really a matter of like, they can't read, like you can do audiobooks, there are some options, but set the expectation, like, and realize that you are going to have some conflict. That's part of raising teenagers no matter what. You're not going to eliminate that by homeschooling them. But I will say, I probably had a lot less conflict with them being homeschooled, my kids, than I would have had I sent them out. And that's based on real, like, trust me, just trust me. I know that it would have been worse if they had been out in like the public school setting. What if my teen is like super lazy, they sleep half the day, and they break the family rules? How can you help me with that? You have got to toe a very firm line. It kind of goes back to what I just said. And again, these are questions, the most commonly asked questions I've got. You have to find a way to be brave enough to lay down consequences and keep them and hold that line. And by brave enough, I mean they're going to come at you with everything they've got, because their flesh, as it were, is screaming for that thing that you have taken away from them. And they want to feed their flesh. They don't want to feed the part of them that makes them a well-rounded, functional adult. And it's worse now than it ever has been in all of time. Think back to when you were a teen, if it's helpful, to when you were trying to manipulate the system and get out of that punishment early. And just remember what your thoughts were, that you knew you were jerking their chain. You were totally going to be right back on your do loop of your own whatever you want to do kind of bad behavior as soon as you can get away with it. So hold the line. Do what you have to do. That's not an issue that's really going to go away if they're in public school. You're still going to have rebellion issues or problems. It comes part and parcel with raising children. When we get to the teen years, toe the line. You're not their friend. You're their parent. And you're helping to make the child that you raise is the grown-up that the whole rest of the world gets. And that isn't putting an onus on you that you don't need to own. It's just saying, don't give up, be diligent. They might still be total turds. I've got some kids that are like in some ways total turds, right? So it's just the truth of the matter. Hold the line, hold the line, hold the line. You be diligent. You're not there to be their friend. You're there to help them to live a better life. And you know what a better life is. They have no clue. They think they do, but they don't. How do I handle requests for my teenagers' time? People say, your kid's homeschooled. Can they come babysit our kids? Can they, and they usually want to pay them far less than they would pay anybody else. For some reason, that's just a thing. Like, let's just get side work out of the homeschool kids. They have the time. I don't know why people think that. And we can pay them less. Also, why are they worthless? It's a really messed up kind of just be prepared for that. It's going to happen. Jobs, or what about a job that's not like babysit the neighbor's kids? What if it's like a job out somewhere and they want to schedule them for hours that's during your homeschool day, or it's too late at night and they're just trying to take advantage of, well, you have a more flexible schedule. Just make up your mind that what they're worth is what they're worth, like for an hourly wage for somebody trying to hire them. And the hours will be set by you and your team deciding together. And if your kid really doesn't want to babysit those other kids and you just feel like, well, we ought to do this, or I want them to, maybe step back and say, if they really don't want to do this, I'm not going to make them do this. You know what I mean? Within reason, right? Like, and as for jobs that are out and about, just make sure they understand that as soon as they start to push that barrier of like, well, they're homeschooled, so we can call them in for this shift just this one time. It will not just be just this one time. Hold the line. The rules are the rules. And there's a lot that comes with teenagers working outside the home at jobs. There's a lot that comes. So, and when you're homeschooled, sometimes if you work at Chick-fil-A, there's going to be a lot of other homeschool kids there. Just saying. If you don't, there's a lot that comes with it. Really weigh it out carefully. Listen to what they tell you about what's going on. Listen to what they're not saying when they say it, if they say it jokingly. If they're really becoming a different kind of a person character-wise and hanging out with a little bit different crowd. If it's just not worth it at some point, again, you're the parent and you just call it. We're done with this. This is over. Who should not homeschool during high school? That's a question I've gotten before. Well, if you really don't think that you have any chance with your schedule, your job is too much, there's a 0% chance you're going to get the time to check and recheck their work. If they're not going to do their work if you're not looking over their shoulder, it's okay. It's not my favorite. Because there's differences between homeschooling and not homeschooling that I've seen on, ad nauseum. My husband and I were in a youth leadership position for 12 years. So we've seen a lot of things. So it's not my favorite, but you can still have like a very well-rounded, wonderful experience with your teenager if you can't homeschool them. If you're not going to get it done, don't do it. If the two of you absolutely cannot get along, maybe don't homeschool high school. This is hard for me to say because I think all those things have to be worked on anyway. And sometimes it's better to do it in the environment where you have more time together just because you have to work on it rather than I'm going to put that off. I don't want to have that hard conversation. I worked so hard today and they've got their sports thing and their homework. And I know we need to address this issue in the family and the teen in our relationship, but I don't want to. Look, don't let that be the thing that holds you back from homeschooling, because what you put off till later, later never comes, tomorrow never comes. So homeschooling in that regard can be good, even in the sense of like, you have to be around each other doing stuff more and there's that friction, but you have to talk about the things that need to be talked about before they leave home and maybe never get talked about. And maybe, the relationship is damaged irreparably. But if you're not going to do a good job, you just know you're not. Maybe just don't sign up for it. And last question that I wanted to answer, checking my list of questions that I've been given. Sorry. Actually, I may have answered them all. Pro tip, though, that I want to share with you. If you're scared about like, oh, I'm going from 8th grade to 9th grade, I don't think I should keep homeschooling. Let me just say this. It's just the next book. It's just the next book. You just open the first page of the next book in the series and you're going to do just fine. It's just the next book. It's just the next step. It's just one more day. And there are always helpful resources in ample supply for homeschool moms today. If I found them back in the 90s and early noughts, you're going to find them now. It's just the next book. It's just the next class. It's just the next worksheet. It's just the next day. Don't let that be the reason that you stop homeschooling just because it says high school.